Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new nominating contract packs as well as the new match pass players on eFootball. Rather than doing separate videos like I normally do, there are only 2 packs this time, so I'm going to look at all of it in one video altogether. I've done review videos for the new player of the week pack, the La Liga player of the season pack, and also the free Showtime Arsenal players. Those videos are live on the channel if you want to check them out. I'm hoping to do at least one J-League watch along over the weekend as well, so hopefully either Saturday or Sunday morning there will be a live stream so we can watch some J-League together and talk about eFootball. For this video, as always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player and each section of the video. So if you want to hear about a particular player, just click on the description and there'll be a link to take you straight to them. We'll start with the J-League pack. So, as I mentioned, only 2 packs this month. One of them is just 5-star players. This is the pack with all the 3 and 4-star options. We've got 11 players in here, a bunch of 3s and 4s. And we'll start with Nakajima from Urawa Reds. So, we've got a little fella, 164 centimeters. This guy's tiny. He's not got amazing dribbling, but he's fairly tidy on the ball. Pace, not the quickest. Got a reasonable amount of balance. I think with this height, he's probably going to feel pretty nimble and responsive on the ball. He could be pretty neat getting this guy on the ball. I have got a GP card of his, which I got early on the game. It expired ages ago. I think they've taken a bit of pace away over time because mine's a bit quicker than this. But he did always feel pretty nice in the ball to me. I will be picking this guy up for sure. He's a creative playmaker. That playing style will be active in all 3 of his positions. You can play him wide left as a wing forward or as a midfielder. You can also play him as an attacking midfielder. I think for a lot of people, the lack of pace will probably mean he's not going to be too effective wide left. But for some people, you might not mind that lack of pace. And as a right footer on the left, he does have long range curler. So cutting inside onto his right foot, he could be pretty effective coming off the left flank. It just depends on whether you're okay with the playing style, playing wide left, and the lack of pace. But certainly he's got long range curler. He's got passing as well. You see here, 1-touch passing, through passing. 87 for low pass. He does also have soul control and a few skill moves there. Heel trick's a nice one. Don't think pinpoint crossing is going to come into the equation too often, but certainly with his passing, that's his biggest strength. Reasonably tidy on the ball. Attacking awareness is going past 80 with your game plan boost. The pace isn't such an issue attacking midfield. I think wide left comes down to the pace. Could be effective for some people, but as an attacking midfielder, I think this guy could be pretty neat for a 3-star card. Sure, his stats aren't amazing, but he's got some decent ones. He is pretty tidy on the ball. He's got really nice passing. And in that J-League challenge, and as I always say when I look at these packs, you're looking at these cards primarily as cards that you're going to use in the J-League challenge. I think in the J-League challenge, when that pops up as an attacking midfield option, this guy to me for a 3-star nominating contract could be pretty good value. It's pretty neat. And just before I forget, stamina's terrible. So that's something to keep in mind. He's not a super sub. He doesn't have the super sub skill, but he might be best being brought off the bench in the second half of a sub. Otherwise, he's going to get tired pretty quickly. So that's a bit of a concern there. But outside of that, wide left, question mark over his pace, but some might not mind that. But certainly as an attacking midfielder, like I say, 3-star contract, this guy could be a pretty neat one to pick up. Next up, we have Arai from Sanfrecce Hiroshima. So this guy, he's pretty little as well. Not quite as small as Nakajima, 173 centimeters. We've got a whole player. He can play 3 positions. He's got right midfield and he can play fullback on either side. He's 2-footed. That's a positive. He can run pretty fast, but outside of that, there's not really a great deal of quality here. He's a guy who's got some reasonable attributes. Certainly the pace is good, but unfortunately with this guy, I just don't know where he's best. As a whole player, that playing style will be active as a right midfielder. He's got the pace, but as a right midfielder, he's terrible on the ball. Low pass is not great. Lofted pass at 80, not too bad. Does he have pinpoint crossing? No. So, end product wise, there's not a lot going on. His ability on the ball, not very good. Attacking awareness, terrible. As a right midfielder, not for me at all. I don't see it. As a fullback, okay. Pace, yes. Defensive, it's a 3-star card. Could be worse. On the ball and passing, I mean, the passing's okay for fullback, but on the ball is a little bit iffy. Stamina's terrible. He's going to get tired pretty quick. So there's a few decent attributes as a fullback, certainly the pace, but there's a few lacking as well. When we come to the skills again, there's nothing really. He's got sliding tackle. There's no interception. He's not got blocker, man marking or anything. He's got heading for a little guy. 81 jumping. It might be surprisingly good in the air for a little guy, but he's still not going to win too many headers if his opponents are even reasonably good in the air. Long range shooting, the first time shot. Okay, so a couple of skills that help him going forward, but all they're really going to do is improve his finishing, which is terrible at 68. So yeah, ultimately, I'm not going to speak for much longer on this guy because I just don't think this is a great card, to be honest. Yes, it's only a 3-star contract that's going to take for you to sign this guy, but Does he have the quality to play any of these three positions? In my opinion, no. I think you might as well just use loan players when you do the J-League challenge. I don't think this is a great card even for a 3-star contract, unfortunately. Next up is Nakayama. So, another creative playmaker, and there's only one place this guy's going to play, and that's on the right wing, either as a forward or as a right midfielder. And again, the strengths are in the same place as Arai just now. We've got really good pace. He's got a reasonable lofted pass attribute, but what else has he got? The attacking awareness is pretty low. On the ball, he's not great. The dribbling will at least go past 80 with the game plan boost, but that's still not brilliant. Finishing 72, it could be worse, but it's not great. What is there here? A little bit of physical contact for a winger, but balance is poor, stamina's poor. What skills have we got? I mean, in terms of end product, through passing, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, the through passing and weighted pass, they're just going to improve his low pass, which isn't great. So his passing might be okay as long as you're careful with it. Lofted pass 83 and pinpoint crossing, okay, fair enough. So we've got a reasonable cross on us. It's not got a great deal of curl though. Kicking power's not great. So his crossing still won't be brilliant, but that's pretty much his greatest strength. And if he's playing on the right hand side as a right footer, it's pretty clear that's the best way to use this guy. Get him up and down the right flank, putting some crosses in. He is a super sub as well. The stamina's not great, so he probably is best as a substitute, bringing him on second half. He's certainly got the pace, so yeah, could you get some use out of this guy? Yeah, for sure. I think primarily as a super sub, coming off the bench on the right wing, getting up and down the right flank and putting crosses in, he could be effective in that way, but that's about all he's really got. He's very limited. He's quite one-dimensional. That's all he's got. If you use that type of a winger, then he could be worth picking up for a 3-star contract in that J-League challenge. Could be a decent sub to bring off the bench, get some crosses in for you, but beyond that, there's not a lot going on. So some people could get some use out of this guy, but again, it's not the best even for a 3-star contract, really. And now the last of our 3 stars, we've got Lukian from Shonan Belmare. So, what to say about this guy? We've got a few attributes over 80, I guess, but attacking awareness 79. Even on a 3-star, that's bad. He's a deep line forward. If you like that playing style, fair enough. I personally don't. I always say that, and I think most people aren't too keen on that. It's probably one of the least popular playing styles for a centre forward. He can play wide left or wide right as a forward, but he is horrible on the ball. He's about 6 foot tall, horrible on the ball. Passing is okay for a centre forward. Not brilliant as a wide man. Finishing 84 is decent. It's one of his better attributes. Heading 76, jumping 75, physical contact 84, 6 foot. So if he's got aerial superiority, he could be decent in the air. And he doesn't. He's got heading though. So he might get a few headers for you, but he's not going to be dominant in the air by any means. He's got a first time shot, which is good. One touch pass as well. But yeah, to be honest, I mean, a bit of kicking power about him, a bit of physical contact. So he's got a bit of strength about him. He's got a bit of a physique on him, but he's not huge. He's not got aerial superiority. He's not the quickest. He's not got great passing. A deep line forward is going to be dropping deep and getting involved in the build-up. I don't think he's got the attributes to play as a deep line forward. I don't think this is a good card at all, if I'm honest. And the attacking awareness, no matter what, it doesn't matter what the play style is for a centre forward, that attacking awareness is really poor. As a wide man, he's nowhere near good enough on the ball. So, yeah, there's 1 or 2 decent attributes there. He's got 1 or 2 decent skills. But again, ultimately, even for a 3-star contract, this guy doesn't look too great to me at all. Next up, we move on to the 4 stars, and we've got Ogihara from Vissel Kobe. So, this guy is an orchestrator, and he has just 1 position. He's a left footer, he's got a decent height on him, 6'1". So, where are his qualities? Certainly, he's not great going forward. It's just as well he's only a DMF. Ball control is decent. He's not going to be great at dribbling, so don't try and do too much when you get on the ball with this guy. Tight possession is not brilliant either, but the ball control is decent. That's an important one on the midfielder, obviously. Low enough to pass both 85, that's okay. That's decent enough on a 4-star. Finishing, again, he's not going to be getting forward much. As an orchestrator DMF, he's going to be loitering around and quite deep on the pitch. He's not going to get forward too much. Heading 72, jumping 74, physical contact 81. We'll check his skills in a second. Defensively, decent. Certainly not the most aggressive, but that engagement will go over 80 with the game plan boost. He's already in the 80s for defensive awareness and tackling, so not exactly a beast defensively, but certainly decent. A little bit on the slow side. Pace isn't too important for an orchestrator, but that might frustrate some people. He might not feel too responsive when you get him on the ball, certainly. Kicking power is decent, balance isn't great. So he's certainly not going to be one who's going to be the most maneuverable, going to feel the most comfortable when you use him. He is physically strong though. Stamina 82, that could be borderline. For an orchestrator, he's not going to be doing too much running, but he might still get a bit tired on the 82 stamina. You might need to keep an eye on that. We will take a look at those skills. So what have we got for skills? So knuckle shot and long range shooting. 66 for finishing. He's only going to be playing DMF and he's an orchestrator. I don't think those skills are going to be particularly useful. However, one touch pass and through passing will. That's good. Two very important skills on any kind of midfielder. Interception, aerial superiority, and captaincy. So interception, a crucial one on the defensive midfielder. Would like one or two more, like maybe his man marking or blocker, but we've got interception, aerial superiority. So heading at 72, jumping 74, physical contact 81. He won't be dominant in the air, but for a defensive midfielder, he will be decent with aerial superiority. He should win you a few headers. I think ultimately, looking at this card, is it a great card? No, it's not one that excites me particularly, but with the qualities he's got, he's kind of got just enough to be a decent defensive midfielder. I think for a 4-star contract, looking at that J-League challenge, I don't think he's good enough to be used outside the J-League challenge. Maybe he's borderline. You could get away with him in some situations, but certainly in that J-League challenge, for a 4-star contract as a defensive midfielder, you'd probably need at least one other midfielder alongside him doing the defensive work, but he can do a bit of everything. He's certainly got nice enough passing with one-touch passing and through passing. Not the most maneuverable. Definitely don't want to start trying to do too much with him when you get him on the ball. He's not going to be doing a great deal of dribbling and skilling his way past opponents, but he's tidy enough on the ball. Keep it simple. He can pick a pass. He can do a bit of defensive work. It's not an exciting card for me, but I think he's good enough to be to represent decent value for a 4-star contract. I think in that J-League challenge, he could certainly do a job. So not an exciting card, but I think it is a decent one. Now we have Drešević from Machida Zelvia, and he's not got a face scan, but the good news is that they give face scans to all the players in the J-League, so I'm sure we'll get one soon enough. So we have a build-up centre-back. He can play centre-back. He's also got DMF, but let's just nip that in the bud. DMF with these technical attributes? Absolutely not. Horrible. So this is very much just a centre-back. 6'1", decent enough height. Defensive attributes, awareness is borderline for me. It's not brilliant, but it could be worse. Tackling and aggression, good, already past 90 before the game plan boost. Defensive engagement, that's the concern. 78. Yes, that will get to the 80 mark with the game plan boost, but it's still a bit on the low side. That concerns me. So he's a bit lacking with defensive engagement. It's not brilliant on the ball, but could be worse for a centre-back. Passing is actually all right for a centre-back. Low pass already in the 70s. Lofted will also join it in the 70s when you get your game plan boost. So his passing is fairly decent for a centre-back. Heading 77, jumping 78, physical contact 82. Those three attributes are a little bit on the low side. Does he have aerial superiority? Yes, he does. Okay, so at 6'1" with aerial superiority, these attributes are a little bit on the low side. He should be okay in the air. He's not going to be great in the air, but he shouldn't be too weak. That aerial superiority is pretty much a saving grace. So, yeah, okay in the air. Could be a bit better. A little bit on the slow side. If you don't mind the lack of pace in the centre-back, that'll be okay for you. But if you like a bit more pace in the centre-back, that is something to be mindful of. Stamina, again, that could be borderline. He'll probably manage, but late in the game, you may find he starts getting a bit tired. As for the rest of his skills, long-range shooting. I mean, he's got 57 for finishing. He's a build-up centre-back. That's not going to do us much good, is it? But man marking, interception, blocker, aerial superiority, acrobatic clearance. He's got some of the most important skills for a centre-back. He's probably just lacking sliding, tackle, and heading, to be honest. He could do with certainly heading, but he's got some of the most important ones. So, again, we're looking at these cards primarily for the J-League challenge, and it is a 4-star nominating contract. It's not like you're spending coins on it or anything. Could it be worth picking up? I think he could do worse. He's certainly got some qualities there. The tackling and aggression are great. Awareness is borderline. You can get away with that, but the engagements are concerned for me. He could be a bit better in the air. So you got a couple of concerns in there, but you do have a fair amount of quality with him and some decent skills. So I think for some people he could do a job. He could be decent value for a 4-star contract, but it's not an amazing one. And I think certainly we have had better centre backs in the past. In the previous selection, we had 2 4-star centre backs, which I think were both slightly better than this. But like I say, he's not terrible. He does have some qualities there. So for some people, he could certainly be a decent enough one to pick up. He could do a decent job in that J-League challenge. This guy, in my opinion, has been done dirty. Lucas Fernandes. I think he's a lot better than this on the ball. I don't know why they've been so harsh to him. He's just joined Cerezo Osaka this summer. Doing alright. Scored a really good free kick, a proper cheeky one from long range a few weeks back. Yeah, we've got some qualities here. He's a wide man. He can play left or right. Creative playmaker. That playing style will be active in all three of his positions. He's a right footer. He's got pretty good pace for a 4-star. Kicking power's decent. He's decent at dribbling. Like I say, I really think he deserves to be better on the ball than that. But the dribbling is decent enough, and the ball control is going to be up to the 80 mark at least with the game plan boost. Tie possession a bit iffy. Low pass will get to the 80 mark with the game plan boost, and Loft is already 85. We'll check his skills in a moment, see if he's got crossing. Finishing 77 could be worse. That's not too bad. On a 4-star card, that's not too bad for a wide man. Attacking awareness likewise could be worse. It's not too bad. I would like a bit more balance on him. That's a little bit of a shame, but again, it could be worse, I guess. But let's have a look at what skills he's got. He does have pinpoint crossings. Outside curler as well. Nice. So whatever flank you play him on, he could go this way or that way. Outside curler is a very helpful skill. Long range curler coming off the left flank. Very good skill to have. And then through passing as well. So we've got a bit of end product with this guy. Interesting. Long range curler, through passing, pinpoint crossing, outside curler. He looks decent. He just isn't quite as good as I wish he had been. It's just those on the ball attributes, because when you get the game plan boost and get into the 80 mark for low pass, lofted pass well up into the 80s, about 87, 88. He's got a decent cross on him. Probably at his best playing on the right flank, using that pace in his crossing, getting up and down the right flank, putting crosses in. As with I forgot his name. What's his name? Nakayama. As with Nakayama, getting up and down that right flank, similar strengths, but obviously better than Nakayama is. Could be pretty effective if you like right wingers like that, putting cross into the box. Could be a reasonable one for a 4-star contract. And likewise, the left midfielder cutting aside, long range drive. He's got through passing as well. Bit of end product on him. Could be a decent player on the left hand side as well. So yeah, could be decent, this guy. Ultimately, though, I've got to say it again. I know I've said it several times already, but for a 4-star contract and for who this player is, I do watch the J-League quite a bit. He's better than that on the ball. He really is. He deserves to be made better. And with those attributes being what they are, regardless of how good he is in real life, he's not brilliant on the ball for a winger. So yes, he's got good pace. He's got a fairly good cross on him as well. So there is some quality there. Just could be a bit better on the ball. So for a 4-star contract, could be decent value. He could do a job for you, but there have been better options in the past, and it's not quite as good a card as I'd like it to be for a 4-star contract. Now we have our goalkeeper. We've got Ichimori from Gamba Osaka. So we have a defensive goalkeeper. That's the first thing we need to be looking at here. 182 centimeters. He's not a tall goalkeeper. Amazingly, his jumping is over 70. We've got a player of the month goalkeeper whose jumping is over 70. Amazing. But sadly, that will just compensate for the fact he's a bit on the short side. And also his reach of 83. That's not terrible, but for a goalkeeper as short as him, it is a concern. We'll give him credit where it's due, though. He's got some qualities. Goalkeeper awareness 88. Goalkeeper reflex is 87. Both of those would be 90 plus if you get a maximum game plan boost. So for a 4-star contract, decent. The catching and parrying, they're not brilliant, but they certainly could be worse. They're decent enough. So for a 4-star contract, on the whole, I think this is a decent goalie card. He's a bit lacking goalie skills. It would be nice if he had long throw or low punt. All he's got is penalty saver. He's a bit on the short side. That reach is just a bit of a concern for me. You know, if your opponent pings a curling, a long range curler right into the far top corner, is he going to be able to reach it? That's where you might find he comes a cropper, but he does have some qualities. Like I say, for a 4-star goalie with the awareness and reflexes both hitting 90 with the game plan boost, he could be worse. He's a decent option. I don't think he's one of the better goalkeepers we had in these J-League packs necessarily. We've had a few better, certainly, but he could be worse. I think for a 4-star contract, if you don't have a better goalkeeper currently to use in the J-League challenge, he's certainly a decent one to pick up, and he could give you value. He can do a job for you. And now we have another build-up centre-back. So we've got Kimoto from FC Tokyo. So, build-up, 6 foot tall. He's kind of okay. You look at all the attributes, he's not really brilliant or terrible anywhere, really. I mean, on the ball, for sure, you don't want to be taking more than 1 or 2 touches on the ball with him. He's not great technically. The ball control could be worse, though. Passing, okay for a centre-back. These defensive attributes are the most important ones. Are they great? No. Are they terrible? No, they're kind of just okay. That's the one good attribute he's got. His speed's going to hit 80 with the game plan boost. That's good speed for a centre-back. Acceleration, pretty average for a centre-back. Everything else here, pretty average. Jumping 85. Physical contact 86. Pretty much everything you see here. He's got good pace, but everything else is just about okay, really. If we look at the skills, again, not a lot there, but he's got just about enough. Weighted pass is a nice one to have in a centre-back. It's a nice bonus. The important ones, man marking, interception, blocker, aerial superiority. So sure, he could do with maybe his heading, maybe his sliding tackle, acrobatic clearance, but he's got most of the key ones really. That I think these four are probably the four most important skills for a centre-back in my opinion, and he's got them. So yeah, the story with this guy is pretty straightforward. He's just about okay everywhere. There's no real glaring weakness for me. There's just nothing really amazing about him. He does have good pace. Other than that, he's kind of just alright. So again, looking at the J-League challenge for a 4-star contract, this is not an exciting card at all really, but I think it's a decent one in that J-League challenge. This is probably one of the better options you can get as a centre-back. So nothing amazing, but for a 4-star contract, as a J-League challenge centre-back, yeah, decent value I think. It's not a bad one. So now we have Nago from Kashima Antlers. We have a whole player, and we've got a guy who can play a bunch of positions. So I think he could actually probably do a job in most of these positions, really. Again, he's quite small, 168 centimeters. He's a little fella. But again, small, but doesn't have great dribbling or pace. So how good is he going to feel on the ball? Pretty decent. He'll be pretty nimble and responsive, but he won't be amazing. As a wide man, 3 of his positions here are out wide. You've got left mid and right mid. You've got right wing forward. His playing style of whole player will be active left mid, right mid, centre mid, attacking mid. It won't be active as a right wing forward. If you're playing him out wide, does he have the pace? I think for most people, no. That'll be what holds him back from being a wide man. For some people, maybe that'll be okay. Certainly playing on the left flank as an inverted winger, maybe just drifting inside and trying to play making inside. Maybe you won't mind the lack of pace, but for most of us, probably not quick enough to play out wide and doesn't really have the dribbling either. But the ball control is good at 87. Dribbling and tight possession will at least hit 80 with the game plan boost. Attacking awareness is decent enough. For a 4-star, the passing is decent. 85 low pass. Finishing 77. Again, it could be worse. It's not too bad. He's got a bit of defensive ability, so could you get away with him as an attack-minded centre midfielder? You probably could. Does he have any defensive skills, though? No. He's got track back at least, but there's no interception, no blocker, man marking, nothing like that. So as a centre midfielder, when you get your game plan boost, all of these are going to be 70 plus. So you could certainly get away with him, but you'd need at least one other midfielder behind him doing the defensive work. Maybe it's 2. But certainly, like I say, as an attack-minded centre midfielder, could do a job with that whole player playing style, bursting forward, because he's got ability going forward. In terms of his attacking skills, cut behind and turn, and then we've got long range curler, long range shooting, one touch pass, through passing. So we've got some end product with his finishing and with his passing as well. I think attacking midfield, again, like with Nakajima, attacking midfield is probably where he's best. He's not the quickest, but that doesn't matter too much as an attacking midfielder. Whole player playing style will work well there. He's got the ability with his passing. Finishing is not too bad, and he's got skills to back up both his passing and his shooting. Tidy technically, even if he's not a great dribbler. Would like a bit more balance on the guy. He's a little guy, so when you've got defenders pressuring you physically, you might find he gets knocked off the ball a bit easily. But yeah, it's a 4-star card. J-League challenge. Technically sound, good passing, reasonable finishing. Don't ask too much from with his finishing, but he's certainly got the skills to back up the attribute there, so he should have a reasonable finish on him. Again, with the stamina, 78 stamina, whole player playing style, he's going to get tired. Be careful with that. So he's the one who's either going to need to be replaced, or you're going to need to keep him on the bench and use him as a substitute. But yeah, I think he's decent. Again, another card where I'm looking at thinking it's not amazing, it's not too exciting when I look at this card, but he could certainly do a job, and with the fact he can play a bunch of positions, he could be a useful one to pick up. So yeah, technically sound, he can pick a pass, he's got a bit of a finish on him as well. Probably best as an attacking midfielder with the whole player playing style. Not an amazing card, but I think certainly a reasonable one for a 4-star nominating contract. Could be useful in that J-League challenge. Not an amazing card, but yeah, not a bad one either. We finish up with Matsuoka from Avispa Fukuoka. So we've got a box-to-box, and we've got 3 positions here. He's down as a defensive midfielder. That playing style box-to-box will be active DMF and CMF, and it will also be active right midfield, but look at that pace. Are you going to play in right midfield? No. If you play against me, then please do, because I'll be running straight past him. He is not quick enough to play out wide. But as a DMF or CMF, not so important, lack of pace. We'll see what else he's got. One thing that stands out straight away, tackling 88, that's going to hit 90 with your game plan boost. So 90 tackling on a 4-star DMF or CMF, nice, very nice. What else has he got though? On the ball, again, this guy's not a dribbler. He's not got the pace. He's not got the dribbling. But his ball control is decent enough at 81. Passing, that's decent enough at 84. It's not amazing, but it's decent enough. I think that's fine. The other defensive attributes, obviously the tackling is great. Defensive awareness and aggression, both over 80 already. That's decent. Defensive engagement 74 is a bit dodgy. That's a bit on the low side, so that's a bit of a shame. But the other defensive attributes are decent. As I mentioned, not the quickest. Would like a bit more physical contact on him, especially if he's going to play DMF. Balance again, I mean, physical and balance are both kind of a little bit on the low side, but they could be worse, I guess. Stamina's good. 89 means you're going to go past 90 for his stamina when you get your game plan boost. So this guy does have some qualities. He's technically just about all right. Defensively, certainly he's a great tackler. Elsewhere, he's kind of okay defensively. And he's got good stamina. So as a DMF or a CMF, I think it probably comes down to the skills. What have we got? We've got long range shooting. He's got 68 for finishing. He's not going to have a brilliant shot on him. Game plan boost will get you past 70 for finishing, but don't ask too much with the shooting. But one touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, excellent. So we've got the 3 skills that we really need for passing. That's good. Outside curls are a really nifty one to have. And then we've got interception and fighting spirit. So as a DMF, I would like more. I would like maybe his man marking, blocker, aerial superiority, but we do have the most important one, interception. You could certainly get away with him as a DMF. I think, again, if you play this guy as a DMF, you probably need at least one other midfielder playing deep as a DMF doing defensive work, so he's not got too much defensive responsibility, because with only the interception skill and his defensive attributes, yes, the tackling is great, but elsewhere, he's not exactly going to be dominant defensively. As a centre midfielder, though, he's got interception and then one touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, 84 on his low pass. He's not going to be amazing as a centre midfielder, but he's got the stamina. He can do a bit of his defensive work. He can certainly put his foot in and make a tackle. I think CMF is probably where he's best. And again, I think it's one where you're looking at the card, you're thinking, is this a great card? Is this an exciting one? Absolutely not. It's not brilliant. It's nothing special. But in that J-League challenge for a 4-star nominating contract, I think he could certainly do a job in any given week if you're lacking midfielders. If this guy gets form, I wouldn't have any issues putting him in the team. He could do a job as a box-to-box centre mid for me. So yeah, again, not a great card by any means, but for a 4-star contract to use in that J-League challenge, he could be a decent one to pick up. So that's your J-League pack. I've got to be honest, I feel like over the last sort of maybe as many as 6 months now, the packs have been a little bit disappointing. They've not been the best, and this is very much in keeping with that. I think out of these 3 stars, the only one that really appeals to me is Nakajima. I think he's really neat for a 3-star contract. Out of the 4 stars, they've done Lucas Fernandes dirty, in my personal opinion. I think 2 centre-backs there could be usable. Kimoto, for me, it's not exciting, but I think he's just about okay everywhere. I think he's a useful one to pick up. Goalie, another goalkeeper option for your J-League ranks, I think would be worth picking up as well for a 4-star contract for that J-League challenge. Ogihara and Matsuoka, 2 players as a defensive mid or centre mid, could be useful ones again. Neither amazing, but could be useful. And then likewise, Nago, he's got a few positions he can play. I think mainly as an attacking mid as a whole player for a 4-star contract. Again, could be decent in that J-League challenge, but sadly for me, out of all these cards, none of them are particularly exciting. I think you just got a bunch of cards in there that could be useful enough for the J-League challenge, but on the whole, it's not the most exciting pack, to be honest. Now we come to our 100 Cap Elite pack. This is our 5-star nominating contract pack, and as you can see, we have a whopping 6 players to choose from. Yay! So we'll start with Daily Blend. With Daily, the first thing to say is that we've had a few versions of them in the past, and this is pretty much the worst. So yeah, basically, with eFootball 25 coming in a couple of months' time, and the fact that we've just learned that we're no longer gonna have contract renewals and contract expiration. If you've got one of the previous versions of this guy, like I have and a lot of us have, he would have run out of contract by now. Just wait until eFootball 25 comes along, and then you won't need to renew his contract anymore, and you will not need this guy, because this guy's just not as good, unfortunately. But if you don't have a good version of him, we'll take a look and see how good this guy can get. Then I'll leave the skills open here and refer back to this, just because I don't trust eFootball Hub at the moment for checking what skills the player's got. But here he is on eFootball Hub. Let's have a look and see how we train him. So this is him maxed out as a centre-back, and we'll give him the maximum game plan boost straight away. So as you can see, defensively, pretty damn nice. Not the most aggressive, but that defensive engagement, 98. He's in the 90s for awareness and tackling as well. Technically, he's very nice for a centre-back. Really nice with it on the ball and with his passing especially. Pace for a centre-back, that's all right. But here's your big concern. Physical contact's only 77. That is not high enough for a centre-back. Jumping's only 82. He's about 5 foot 5'10", 5'11", almost 5'11". So he's a bit on the short side for a centre-back, and he's physically weak, and he's not got great jumping. And if we do check those skills, he does not have aerial superiority. So yeah, he does have man marking, interception, and blocker. You'd probably like him to have acrobatic clearance and sliding tackle as well, but certainly heading and aerial superiority, both big misses as a centre-back. So that's a big concern. As a centre-back, could we retrain him and make him better in terms of his physical and aerial ability? We could afford to nick a few from defending, I think. If we took a couple from there, I don't want tackling him to go below 90. In fact, let's just see how much we can put on his aerial. We'll go right the way down to there on defending. What does that give us? Take all the lower body weight. Still, it doesn't matter if he's a little bit slow. Even if you do that, you sacrifice quite a bit defensively. Physical contact still only going to 82. I don't know. Could you get away with them? Yeah, I think so. As a kind of cultured centre-back who's technically very sound, which he is, defensive attributes are not as high as they were on the auto allocation, but they're still pretty decent. Pace, a bit on the slow side, something to be mindful of, but he could be slower for sure. I'd jump up to 88. If you gave him aerial superiority, he would be decent in the air. Physical contact at 82. It still, for me, is not high enough, but it's not too bad now. You could get away with that. So, yeah. If you want to focus, if you wanted to focus on his technical attributes there, obviously those technical attributes are very decent for a centre-back. And again, if you go back to the skills, as you can see, one-touch pass, weighted pass, outside curler, low lofted pass, good skills in a centre-back. As a cultured centre-half, focusing on his technical abilities and so on, yeah, he could be decent. But again, like I say, the previous versions of Blend, they've been better. So if you've got one of them, you've got a better one already. If you don't have one, as you can see, yes, you can make him a decent centre-half, but one or two concerns there, and the main concern really, there's the aerial ability, and it's that physical contact that bothers me really. And to get that even up to 82, you've had to sacrifice a bit on his defensive ability, so it's a bit frustrating. But certainly, you could do a nice build and make him a kind of technical, cultured centre back if you wanted to, and he wouldn't be too bad there. But let's have a look at some other positions he's got though, because he is versatile. So defensive midfield, what does the auto allocation give us? It gives us a whole load of defensive ability. Technically, fine for a defensive mid. So defensively is obviously strong. Pace again is not the quickest, but he could be slower. Again though, it's just that physical contact. You really need that to be a bit higher for a defensive mid. Stamina's iffy as well. So could we shuffle those points around again? I think so. I think on a defensive mid you can better afford to take a few points away from his defending. I wonder if he goes as low as that. How high would we get his aerial? Can we get to 80? Yes. Put a bit back on defending. Got any points we can nick from there? I've got a few. Maybe just do something like that, I think. Yeah. So again, previous versions of him, better. They are better at defensive midfield. They're better in every position, to be honest, than this one. But as you can see here, you can make him a decent defensive mid. Going back to those skills again, as we saw when we looked at the centre-back, he does have one-touch pass, weighted pass, outside curler, low lofted pass, good skills on the ball, and then man marking, interception, and blocker. So the skill set is there to back him up as a defensive mid. And with those attributes, yes, the previous versions are better, but he's pretty solid. He's very usable. If you don't have a good version of him already as a defensive mid, and if you're looking at options to use your 5-star nominating contract and you fancy a defensive midfielder, pretty decent, to be honest. He's very usable there. So, yeah, there's a good option for you. And then we've got two more positions, left back and left midfield. So, one area he has always lacked for those positions is pace. And as you're going to see, he still lacks pace for left back. So, again, can we shuffle those points around? We're going to need to, because that is not enough pace on the left back. So straight away, I'm looking at defending. He doesn't need to be that strong defending. Let's go down to 4 points on defending. Doesn't need as much physical contact as that. You can afford to take a few away from there. You can take all those points of passing. What does that let us do? Yeah, that's about it. That's probably about as good as I think I would make him for left back. Is that good enough? I don't know. He's certainly got some qualities. That engagement up to 90 is great. On the whole, he's pretty strong defensively as a left back. Down the left here, he's absolutely fine. He can't really dribble particularly well, but as somebody who's not the quickest either, I don't think you're going to be looking to do that. You're going to look to keep it simple when you get the ball with him. Just pick a pass. You can certainly pass it reasonably well for a fullback. It's just that pace really. The physical contact's okay. Balance is decent. Stamina's great. Again, going back to that skill set. As a fullback, one-touch pass, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, outside curler, low lofted pass, and then defensively man marking, interception blocker. Got a great selection of skills for a left back. It's just the pace, because outside of the pace, he's a great left back. But I think for most of us, and for me included, that lack of pace there for me just kills it. I don't think I would ever use this guy as a left back. So yeah, certainly a lot of qualities as a left back, but similar to centre back really, that there's at least one big concern there. So I'm not sure he quite cuts the mustard. And then one position remaining, left midfield. Can he be a left midfielder? Let's have a look. Start with the auto allocation. What's the game giving us? Maybe. So it's pretty clear with Blind. He's a left footer. I often say this with some cards. It would be a kind of Beckham style wide midfielder. You can be focusing on not on his pace and his dribbling, but just getting him on the ball, picking a pass or a cross. With the skills he's got pinpoint crossing, as we've seen, one-touch pass. He's got a very nice cross on him, to be honest. It's just really the pace that would hold some people back as a left midfielder. I don't think he's quick enough personally for left midfield. Could you shuffle the points around? Maybe he's a bit. You could nick a bit off his passing there. Could nick a bit off his dribbling. Don't really want to. To be honest, it's the dexterity. It's more of a concern than the lower body. That offensive awareness is not great. There's nothing on his defensive, is there? No, he's got good defending as a left back. Maybe as a left wing back could do a job, but again, is he quick enough? That's the question, really. Left back and left mid, he's not really. Got a few points left over. I'm just going to stick him back on passing. Yeah, he is usable as a left midfielder. I think basically you've got a guy here who, depending how you train him, he could be a usable centre back, could be usable at left back, questionably. Obviously, the pace is an issue. And then again, left midfield. Are you bothered about the pace? If you want someone like a Beckham style winger, old school winger, just getting crosses in, he could be very usable. He's got a very good cross on him. Defensive midfield for me is where he's the most complete. I think with the skill set he's got, and if you train him up to play in that position, he could be very good. But depending on how you feel about the weaknesses he's got, he could be usable in those other positions as well. So he's a versatile card. There's a bunch of ways you could use him, especially as a defensive midfielder. I think he could potentially be a very decent one. But like I say, if you've got a previous version of him, it's likely better than this one. And you don't need to worry about the contract expiration anymore when eFootball 25 comes. So for me personally, I'm just waiting for eFootball 25 and I'm going to start using my old one probably quite regularly because it's really good. This one isn't as good, but if you don't have one of those previous versions, it is decent. A bunch of ways you can use it. Versatile. Could be a neat card for some people. Just one or two concerns. And like I say, it is the worst version we've had of him, which is a bit of a shame. So next we have Luis Suárez. We have a deep lying forward version of Luis Suárez. We've had quite a few versions of Suárez. This guy goes up to 93. We've had one where it goes to 94. We've had a 95 as well. I think one of those was the player of the week. Most of the previous versions we've had are not a deep lying forward. He's usually a goal poacher. This might be, I think this is probably the best deep lying forward version of him we've had. So it might come down to whether you like that playing style. But yeah, certainly in terms of the skills, before we start training him as a deep lying forward, dropping deep and getting involved in the build-up, you need to be decent enough on the ball. There's nothing with his passing here. One-touch passing, through passing might be a big miss. So let's have a look at how good he is. We'll train him up in eFootball Hub. So here we go. He's maxed out here on auto allocation. Let's hit that game plan boost. So definitely got some qualities, this guy. The awareness, obviously, that's the main strength of his. 94 is fantastic. Finishing 91 is great. On the ball, not brilliant, but at least the ball controls past 80. Passing is not brilliant. Like I say, for a deep line forward, that's a concern for me. Speed is an issue. Speed and stamina both lacking. Stamina, he's going to get tired. Probably going to want to put a counter target on him. Otherwise, bring him off the bench. He doesn't have super sub, but still might be best bringing him on as a substitute with a lack of stamina. But like I say, that speed though. Speed's not the most important attribute if he's a deep lying forward, but he will be making forward runs. He'll be making those runs forward a bit later than other types of striker like foxes and goal poachers. So speed, you might find a bit frustrating. Acceleration is good though at 84. Kicking power is decent. Physical contact's pretty decent for this type of player. That will help when he's dropping deep, getting involved in the build-up. Balance is fantastic at 91. Yeah, we've got some real qualities on Suárez, but it's just that deep line forward playing style. I don't like that playing style. I feel like most people probably don't like that playing style. It can work. I've had some occasions when I've used a deep line forward and it's been okay. I did the national team challenge. I think it was last week. I used France. I had Kolo Muani just behind Thuram. I had dummy runner Thuram with deep line forward Kolo Muani behind him. It did actually work quite well. They're making some interesting moves. So it's not a bad playing style. It's just personal preference. But for a deep line forward for me, I would like more speed, and I would definitely like him to be a little bit better technically, especially with the passing. So it's a bit of a concern. As we saw with the skills, we'll quickly go back to the skills just to remind ourselves. There's no one-touch pass or through passing. As a deep line forward, especially if you were going to play him as an SS, which I wouldn't, because I don't think the attributes are good enough for that. But even as a centre forward, one-touch pass and through passing for me with that playing style will be very, very important. He does have a great selection of skills for shooting and finishing. So we've got first time shot, the most important one. Acrobatic finishing, rising shot, long range curler. I got a couple of skill moves there. Heel trick and outside curler, very nice ones to have. Fighting spirit helps because he's going to get tired quickly. But certainly when it comes to finishing, he might not be a goal poacher, but he's got a great selection of skills for taking chances. And with his attributes, he does have strengths along those lines. So the question would be, is he good enough for that playing style? Do his attributes marry up with that playing style well enough? For me personally, they don't. So then the question after that is, can you shuffle the training points around and make him better for that playing style and make him really make the most of him? So let's have a try. I don't want to take too many off his finishing and awareness because they're so important, but we can afford to. We'll go down to 8 on his dexterity. We'll leave the attacking awareness at 90. Leave the finishing at 90. That's freed up 14 points. How much on his passing can we get? We can get 8 on his passing. I'd be inclined to do that, to be honest. I'd probably just do that. You could even take all 4 off his aerial. Still at 80 physical contact. That's 4 points still. Stick both them on his dribbling. I personally would do that. I'm sure not everyone would agree with me doing that, but in fact, we could give him a bit more speed. So those 2 extra on dribbling. Maybe you'd like a bit more speed on him. I don't know. I think for the lack of pace, you're not going to make him quick. I think it's probably you're better served putting them on the technicals there. You get his tight possession up to 80. I think that's more important. Like I say, I know I keep going on about the deep line forward playing style, but the playing styles make so much of a difference with these players, with all players. I think that's how I would build this guy if I was going to pick him up. I'm not, because I can't stand him, but if you do pick this guy up, I personally would recommend to build something along those lines. Making his passing better and still giving one-touch pass and through passing, super important. If you do that, when he's dropping deep with the pace style he's got, he'll be much more effective, linking up the play and getting involved in the build-up. He's a bit tidier on the ball. He's still got 90 attacking awareness, 90 finishing. He's still going to be all right with his heading. Not brilliant, but he's not that big of a guy. He's not got aerial or anything. His jumping's terrible. Physical contact is still at 80, though, even after taking his points away. Bounce at 86 is still pretty good. Acceleration still at 80. It's not a brilliant card. I think it just comes down to that playing style and whether he's suited to it. You do need to shuffle those points around, in my opinion, to make him suit that playing style. But if you do that, he could work for you. If you like a deep line forward, if that's a playing style that works for you in the system you use in your formation, especially if you like Luis Suárez, then it could be a good card to pick up. But just be mindful of whether you do shuffle those points around, whether you've got him, trained to suit that playing style. Do try and put one-touch pass and through passing on him. I do personally think that's very important. And just be mindful of the fact he's lacking in speed and stamina as well, because he's not the quickest. And that stamina, he's going to get tired pretty quick. So, yeah, there's 1 or 2 concerns with this guy. And I think you've got to be careful how you train him. But if you like the guy, and if you train him the right way, and you can make the most of his playing style, he could be a pretty tidy card to pick up. And next we have another striker. And this guy also goes with 93. So, we've got Romelu Lukaku. We've had quite a few versions of Lukaku in the game. We've had quite a few better ones as well. This guy, as I say, goes to 93. We've had a bunch that goes to 94. We've had a couple of 95s as well. So by no means the best version of Lukaku that we've had. Got inconsistent form as well. Keep your eyes on that. Fox in the box, which is his usual playing style. We'll just get his skills up there, and then we'll jump into eFootball Hub and see how we can train him up. So here he is maxed out again. Let's get him. Give him that maximum game plan boost straight away. So, yeah, for that playing style, he's probably got what he needs. For a Fox in the box, you don't need too much pace, though he does have a decent amount of pace. Fox in the box will be making attacking runs, but not as aggressively as a poacher. He will be dropping a little bit deeper than that and making slightly later runs into the box. A Fox in the box is kind of a midway point between a goal poacher and a deep line forward, really. I personally like that playing style. I like having a Fox in the box up front as my lone striker. You can feed passes into feet. You can also get them in behind sometimes as well. They're kind of all-rounders in terms of their movement. I would like him to be a bit better technically, though. That's the first thing I'm looking at here. As I was saying with Suárez, you know, Lukaku might not be a deep line forward, but you still need him to be a bit more comfortable on the ball. Fox in the box, like I say, they will sometimes be taking short passes to feet, not just running behind the defence all the time. So can we afford to take some points away from elsewhere and put them on his technicals? I mean, I don't want to go below 90 for attacking awareness. It's 1 on passing. I mean, you could get his finishing up to 90. If you don't mind the technicals being as they are, getting his finishing up to 90 as well as attacking awareness, you might want to just do that. Does he have aerial superiority? Because he's only got 71 for jumping. Let's have a quick look at his skills. No, he doesn't. Might want to put aerial superiority on him. He doesn't have heading either, though. So, yeah, if you want to put some crosses in for this guy, heading and aerial superiority would both be needed. But as far as his finishing goes, though, first time shot, long range curler. Outside curler is a handy one. Acrobatic finishing. And down here, he's got track back. I don't know if you really necessarily want that on him. Gamesmanship. Good at penalties. Captaincy. Didn't realize he was a captain. Fighting spirit. So, yeah, he's lacking a few skills. I think, personally, heading, aerial superiority, through passing, probably the 3 I'd look to put on him first. Maybe long range shooting as well. If we go back to eFootball Hub, though, like I say, if he doesn't have heading or aerial superiority, only 71 for jumping. Yes, he's quite tall at 6'3". Yes, he's physically extremely strong, got decent heading, but he's not going to be winning too many headers. So, yeah, it just depends on whether you're planning to put like crosses into him or playing a lot of high balls forward. You might want to try and increase his aerial attributes and give him those skills to make him better in the air. Or if you're not too bothered about how good he is in the air at all, you could take some points away from there. It's a tricky one because I don't think there's too many points that you can really spare from elsewhere. You've only got 4 on lower body, you've only got 4 on aerial, and it comes down to whether you want to go below 90 for his finishing and attacking awareness. On a 5-star striker, you probably don't. So I think, to be honest, most likely you'd want to just leave him as he is and just accept that he's not going to be too comfortable on the ball. But if that is the case, he does have those qualities still. The awareness and finishing at 90, the heading's decent, the physical contact's great. He's a really strong guy. Not got great balance, but it could be worse, I guess, for a big physical guy. And again, he's got decent pace and he's got good kicking power as well at 89. Could we steal some points, actually? Let's get his kicking power up to 90. That'd be naughty. Boom. There we go. So it's still over 90 physical contact. We can get his kicking power up to 90 as well. To be honest, it's like with Daily Blend. It's quite far from being the best version of Lukaku. So I think a lot of people have probably got a better version by now. But it's one of these where if you don't have a good version of him already, is it going to be a decent card for you? It could well be. Decent pace in the Fox in the box. Kicking power is great. Physical contact's great. Awareness and finishing are great. Yes, he's a bit lacking technically. He's not going to feel too comfortable on the ball. He's certainly not going to be nimble by any means. But for what he is, feeding balls into him, getting him into good positions to take chances. You get shots away with this guy. They're going to take some stopping because they're going to be accurate. They're going to be powerful. He's got qualities, but he's far from the best version of Lukaku we've had. He's not brilliantly technically, again, as I mentioned. So 1 or 2 slight concerns with this guy. I'm not sure he's the best value for a 5-star contract, but for some people, if you like this guy, if you like this type of striker, he certainly does have some great qualities, and for some of you, he could be an effective one to pick up. And now we have another Pepe. So I keep saying whenever we get a Pepe card, I keep saying we're not going to get many more good versions of him because of his age, and then they keep making new versions of him. So we've got another one, and he goes to 93. We've had a couple of 93s before. Those have been the highest rated versions of him. There's one build-up player of the week, and there's one destroyer in the Portugal pack that's currently available. This goes to the same level as the one in the Portugal pack. The only real difference, I'll show you on eFootball Hub. So just before we go there, unwavering form, that's a big plus. And then skill-wise, you know what you're getting with Pepe. Pretty much the complete set of skills, except he needs blocker. You're going to need to give this guy blocker. I mean, maybe not need, but I think most people would agree that blocker is an important skill for a centre back. So blocker's lacking there from his skills, but like I say, we're going to eFootball Hub, and here he is maxed out on auto allocation. So on auto allocation, comparing this guy to the one in the Portugal pack, we got a few less on his defensive awareness, but he's a bit better with his physicals, with his jumping and his physical contact. So slight trade-off there, but on the whole, not a huge difference, and they both go to the same level overall, 93. So let's hit that game plan boost. With the maximum boost available, see how good he is defensively. He is fantastic. Jumping and physical both hitting 90. The pace, he's not the quickest, but I think he's just about quick enough. He can get away with that. Stamina, though, that is a big concern. He will get tired. Be careful with the stamina. You're going to need to sub him off second half more than likely. Down the left, is he good technically? Not particularly. He could be better, but he's a destroyer. He's a thug. You know what he's going to be good at. You know what Pepe's like. He's not going to be the most cultured on the ball, but certainly what he is good at, and that, which is defending. Obviously, he's fantastic. So with the skills he's got, with his attributes, he's a good, solid centre back. Could you afford to take a few points away from here and maybe give him a bit more pace, a bit more technicals? Maybe. I think so. You don't have to do that, but if you took a bunch of his defending there, just take 3 away from there. What's it give us? 9 points. Where would you put them? I would leave his aerial as it is. I don't want to drop that physical contact below 90. So 9 points. What we're thinking, you could try and get his passing up to 70. You could do that. Plenty of merit in doing that. Or you could just beef up his speed, get that right up to 78, and then stick the last one on dexterity. There's that option. That's not a bad build. Or you could just focus on his acceleration, get up to the 70 mark, and you got 1 left to stick up on passing. You could do that. A few different ways you could do it. You could certainly spare a few of those points off defending, or of course, if you don't want to do that, you just want to leave him as he is, make him a defensive beast. Plenty of merit in doing that. It just depends on personal preference, but ultimately, you've got a good version of Pepe, one of the best versions we've had. I know I keep saying it, but we can't keep getting more and more good versions of him. He's about 60 years old now, so yeah, if you've not got a good version of Pepe and you want one, I think this one could be well worth picking up. And even if you're not necessarily a fan of his, you're just looking at this guy as a centre-back card. Defensively, fantastic. The pace isn't brilliant. The stamina's pretty bad. Keep an eye on that. The physical and aerial are great. As just a thug in defence, that destroyer playing style, just destroying and breaking up attacks. He's a really good player. Could be a really good card to pick up. So yeah, it's a good version of Pepe, this, and it could be a good card for a lot of people. And now we have Granit Xhaka from Leverkusen. So we have an orchestrator, centre midfielder, can play as a defensive midfielder. There he is. Standard form, he does not get live update playing for Leverkusen, so keep that in mind. You're not going to get any A's or B's unless he gets it from international duty, of course. Again, we'll leave these skills here as a reference before we go to eFootball Hub. Have a quick look there. Got some shooting skills, one touch pass, weighted pass, outside curler, low lofted pass. Technically, all he really needs is through passing. That's the only one he's really lacking, but obviously there's one other area where he is lacking, and that is defensive. He has no defensive skills. That's a big concern. So on the ball, give him through passing, but defensively he needs a bunch of skills. But let's have a look on eFootball Hub, see how we train him up. So auto allocation, again, maximum game plan boost. We've got an 88 rated manager. This is how good he is. With the skills he's got fantastic passing. If you go him through passing especially, he's going to have really good passing, this guy. Does he need that many points on passing? No, but how good is he elsewhere? On the ball, tidy enough. Defensively, reasonably strong. Is he quick? He's not slow. His pace is just about okay for a centre mid or a defensive mid. Kicking power is great. Physical contact and balance, I would like those to be a little bit higher, especially the balance. Stamina 86 is fine. As an orchestrator, I think you can get away with that because an orchestrator is not going to be doing too much running. So he's got all the skills in the world for his passing and shooting, except for through passing. Just needs that one. But defensively, depends where you play him. Interception, I think, is a must. You're definitely going to need to give him interception if you're going to play this guy either centre mid or defensive mid. If you're going to play him defensive mid, I think probably as well as interception and through passing, I would give him blocker, man marking, maybe zero superiority, something like that. He definitely needs a few defensive skills, but I think with this auto allocation, it's certainly built in to play as a centre midfielder, not defensive midfielder. I'll still look at maybe he's taking a few points off his passing. I don't think he needs quite that much. Can we just get... Oh, he's not got anything on his aerials. Let's just stick 4 points straight on his aerials. And then we've got 4 left. 8 points, and that's an increase of 4 on his dexterity. I think I'll do that, to be honest. Give him a bit more acceleration, a bit more zip about him, a bit more balance, and his attacking awareness. As a centre midfielder, I'd do something like that. I think that's a pretty nice card, to be honest. As an orchestrator, this guy's going to have really nice passing. He's tidy enough on the ball. Got a decent amount of defensive ability there. Physical contact's now decent. Stamina's decent enough. The pace is okay. Kicking power's good. I think he's a pretty good centre midfielder, to be honest. It just comes down to those skills. He's got a lot of great skills, but he does need through passing and interception. Those 2 skills for me are an absolute must. If you give him those 2 skills as a centre mid, as you can see here, I think he's very good. As a defensive mid, how good can we make him as a defensive mid? Let's nick a couple more of passing. Don't need as much dexterity. How good can we get him defensively? Not amazing. I wouldn't do too much, I guess. I mean, you could nick some more off his passing. It's a shame to go below 90, but the thing is, we're up to 12 now in defending. You can only get one increase of 1 there because it's 4 points per increase after 12. I wouldn't bother doing that. Keep his low pass at 90. Yeah, I would just leave it there. As a defensive midfielder, he might not be an absolute beast defensively, but certainly he's up into the mid-80s in those three. Obviously, it's Granit Xhaka, so he's super aggressive. He's going to run around kicking people. That's what he does. Still tidy enough on the ball with really nice passing. Kicking power is good. Physical contact is just about fine for a defensive midfielder. And then the stamina again. So, yeah, I think he's pretty good as a defensive midfielder. I think as a centre midfielder, as more of an all-rounder, he's probably get more value out of him that way. Depends on who you got in your midfield, how he fits into your kind of system. And also worth keeping in mind that most of us are getting that Ruben Neves orchestrator from the penalty game. And a lot of us are going to choose Jorginho from the three Arsenal players. So do you need another orchestrator? I think a lot of us probably don't. But if you're an Arsenal fan, if you're a Leverkusen fan, if you're Swiss, if you like this guy, it's a good version of him. Looking down the eFootball Hub, you can see at the bottom, it shows you the previous versions we've had. We had one that went to 95. In fact, that's this one. So this is the best version of Xhaka we've had. So yeah, if you like Xhaka, Arsenal fan, you're Swiss, you like Leverkusen, whatever reason you like this guy, it's the best version of him that we've had, so it might be a really good one to pick up. And if you want another orchestrator, regardless of whether you've got Neves and Jorginho already, this guy for me can be a pretty decent defensive mid and it can be a very nice centre mid. So for some people, this could be a really nice card to pick up. Not for everyone, but certainly for a lot of people, could be very decent to pick up this guy. And finally from this pack, we have Joshua Kimmich. So, orchestrator, he goes up to 96. We've had a bunch of 97s, and we've even had a 98, so it's not the best Kimmich we've had, but it's still a good one. Unwavering form. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes this summer. It looks like he's leaving Bayern. Hopefully he goes somewhere where he's going to get live update. If he doesn't, he does have unwavering form. That is a plus. Again, with the skills, I have a quick look before we go to eFootball Hub. So, long-range shooting, fair enough, but one-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, excellent for his passing. Pinpoint crossing, interception, sliding tackle, captaincy, fighting spirit. So, depending on what position you play him in, he's got a pretty good selection of skills there. Let's jump on eFootball Hub. We'll train him up. So, auto allocation as a centre midfielder. Maximum game plan boost. How good is he? He's very good. Passing. He's got the skills to back it up as well. This guy's got fantastic passing. On the ball, he's pretty tidy. Defensively, he's fairly strong. For a centre midfielder, very strong. Pace is decent. Certainly for Kimmich, he's not always that quick. I've had a couple of Player of the Week cards, but were not as quick as that. Kicking power is decent. Physical contact is not brilliant. Could be better. They've not put any points on his aerial, though, so we could get that higher if we want to. Balance 83 is decent. Stamina is fantastic. Yeah, this is a good version of Kimmich. Would I change much? I'd probably take a couple from his passing and stick him straight on his dribbling just to get a few more than 90 plus. That's probably just about all I'd do, to be honest. In fact, no, it's not, because that offensive awareness is bad. I didn't notice that. Even on the centre midfielder, attacking awareness is quite important. So, can we get some more on that? Yes. I'm going to nick some more off his passing. This is just what I'd personally do. You don't have to agree with that. We've got 2 points left. Where do we put those points? I'm going to put them on aerial. Yeah. That does seem to be the case on a lot of versions of Kimmich. The attacking awareness isn't too high, so I would like it to be higher, but as you can see, I mean, eFootball Hub's telling you that it's giving you at least a rough guide, 100 rated centre mid. You can see how good he is there. Technically fantastic. Well, I now just noticed his finishing's poor. Where did I get those points? There. 2 points there. I'll stick them back straight onto finishing. There we go. I feel better about it now. 70 finishing. Yeah. As a centre midfielder, very nice. I would like the attacking awareness to be higher. I would like the finishing to be higher, to be honest. But with on the ball and his passing is fantastic. Defensively, he's pretty strong centre mid. And again, you've got decent pace there. We've put a bit on his dexterity, so you've got more acceleration. Got a bit more zip about him. Balance 88 is great. And great stamina. Very nice as a kind of deep line playmaker. Again, another orchestrator. As an orchestrator, could be a very nice midfielder to have, centre midfielder. If you're going to play him as a defensive midfielder, you could leave him pretty similar to this and just have him as a kind of deep line playmaker, just playing a bit deeper. But if you wanted him to be a real defensive player, we could certainly take a few more points away from the left-hand side. So if we took a whole load of points away from here, let's see how strong we can make him defensively. Right, we need some aerial strength. Quite a few points here. Whoa, nice. Lovely jubbly. Yeah, defensive midfielder, that's a big tick. Definitely usable there. So we've taken quite a bit away from the left-hand side, but he's still tidy on the ball. He's still got really nice passing. 90 plus on all 4 of his defensives there. Still 80 on both his speed and acceleration. His physical contact's up to 80. Balance at 83 still. Stamina at 94. You would need to give him 1 or 2 skills, in my opinion. He's got interception, but let's have a quick look. Go back to his skills in game. So he's got interception, but I would give him man marking, blocker, aerial superiority. What else? Maybe he's outside curler as well, but certainly defensively, I think man marking and blocker would be worth putting on if you're going to use him as a real defensive midfielder and focus on his defensive ability. Because if you do want to do that, if you train him something like this, he could be very strong as a defensive midfielder. Looks very, very nice. One more position he's got, right back. Usually he's not quick enough. Can we make him quick enough to be a right back? That's the challenge. Let's take a bunch of these points away. As long as he's 80 plus on those defensives, that's enough for me. We'll start with just that much on his defensives. We'll take all the aerials away because I think that physical contact's enough for a fullback, even though I'd like it to be higher. Don't need that much on his passing. We'll take all the points off his passing. Right, we've got 38 points. Hello. How quick can we make him? Oh, we'd get up to 90. Hello, 90 speed on Kimmich. We've got 5 points left. Woo. Where are we going to put him? Where are we going to put him? 4 on aerial, 1 left passing. I tell you what, that is a very usable Kimmich as a right back. I wasn't expecting him to be that good as a right back, but 90 speed, yes, the acceleration would be nice if that was higher, but I think that's about as high as you need it to be. As long as the speed's high enough, I think that's okay. 90 and 80 for his pace, I think that's fine. Great kicking power now that we put so much in his speed. Jumping is decent, physical is decent on a fullback, balance is decent, stamina 99 is brilliant. Just about hit the 80 mark on all his defensive, so he's decent there. On the ball, tidy enough. He's by no means a dribbler, but he's got some pace now. And his ball control and tight possession are very decent for a fullback. Very decent for a fullback. Low and lofted pass, again, they're good for a fullback. He's got pinpoint crossing as well, so he's got a cross on him. This is a tidy right back, to be honest. If you've got 1 or 2 versions of Kimmich already, this could be one that if you've got a 5-star contract for knocking around and you're not too convinced by the other players that are available, could be worth picking this one up and making him a right back, so you've got a right back option. I'm quite tempted to do that personally, actually, because this to me looks like a very usable right back. So again, skill wise, I think man marking blocker maybe is worth putting on him, just to beef him up defensively if you do this. But certainly if you do give him 1 or 2 skills, and even if you don't, training him something like this to me looks like a very usable right back. So you've got 3 positions you can use this guy. It's not the best version of Kimmich we've had. We've had a few better ones, but it's still a good one. You can make him a very nice centre mid. You can make a really strong defensive mid. And as you can see, you can actually make him a strong right back as well. So yeah, could be a decent one to pick up, even if you've already got a decent version of him. So a few options for you there. Potentially a good card to pick up. So that is your 100 cap 6-player pack. Not a lot of options in there. A bit disappointed by that, but yeah, there are some decent cards in there. Blind, maybe, logically, statistically, the worst version of him that we've had, but it's still a decent card. If you've not got a good version of him already, he could be useful. Depending how you train him, you could potentially find him quite usable as a centre-back, left-back, defensive mid, or even a left mid. Could be a useful one. He's versatile. Suárez, if you're a fan of him, if you can make the play style work and train him the right way, give him certainly 1-touch pass and through passing, could be an effective card. Lukaku, by no means the best version of him that we've had, but if you don't have a good version of him, and I personally don't, I'm tempted to pick him up because there's a big physical guy with a powerful shot, with the awareness and finishing. Even if he's not by quite a distance from being the best Lukaku we've had, he's still a pretty decent looking card. Pepe, again, I don't know how many more good versions of him we'll have, but with the attributes that he gets, if you just want a defender, a destroyer who's going to get in the way of things and just do his defending, he's got some really good attributes. Could be a very good card to pick up. Xhaka, very decent. And Kimmich likewise. You've got 2 orchestrators there. Both can play centre mid or defensive mid. Depending how you train for both those positions, they're both very nice cards. Depends on whether you want another orchestrator, but they're both very good. And Kimmich, as we just saw, you can actually train to be a very good right back as well, in my opinion. So there are some options in there. There aren't many, but there are at least 1 or 2. I think for most people, there'll be at least 1 or 2 that are decent or even good options to pick up for a 5-star nominating contract. Let's finish up by looking at the new match pass players. So we've got value match pass Zieliński, and we've got premium match pass Morata. So match pass is interesting this time. We don't have any contract renewals, and they've also given us a few extra coins. It seems like they just snuck a few extra coins in to compensate us for the fact there's no contract renewals. So on the value match pass, you now get 230 coins back, and on the premium match pass, you get 340 coins back. So yeah, so instead of costing you 300 coins on the value, it's going to cost you 270, and instead of costing you 700 coins for the premium, it's going to cost you 660. I hope my maths is right on that. Yeah, it's interesting what they're doing with match pass. I'm a little bit confused, I'm a little bit concerned, because I feel like over the last 6 months or so, the selections in their nominating contract packs have just slowly but surely been getting worse. They've been regressing. And this month, just having 2 packs, one J-League pack, and the pack we just looked at was 6 players in for 5-star contracts. There's really not a great deal of choice in there. The fact that they're removing contracts from the game in eFootball 25, there's no more contract renewals in these match passes. That makes them a bit less appealing. The fact that all of our players who are out of contract are suddenly going to be usable again, we've got less need to sign new players, so that makes these match passes a bit less appealing. And the fact that the options that we're getting in the nominating contract pack selections every month, they appear to be getting worse every month. That's making match pass less appealing. Did they not want us to buy match pass? Did they not want us to spend coins on match pass? I'm really quite confused by it, because I'm getting less and less interested in spending coins on match pass because they're giving me less and less reason to. It's very strange, but yeah, there we go. Like I say, a few more extra coins in these to kind of take the place of the contract renewals, because we don't need contract renewals anymore from eFootball 25. But either way, 500 coins for Zieliński, 1,000 coins for Álvaro Morata. Let's have a look at these two, and we'll see if they're any good. So we start with our value match pass player, Zieliński. He is a whole player, and he's got a bunch of positions. His playing style of whole player will be active in all of those positions. Left mid, right mid, centre mid, or attacking mid. He's maxed out here. We'll give him the maximum game plan boost, and as you can see, he's pretty tidy. You've got a bunch of 90+ attributes here. I'm going to tweak these the way the training points have been allocated. For a start, they put 4 on defending. He's not going to be defending. I mean, you could use him as a very attack-minded centre midfielder, but I think that's a waste. With the ability he's got, if you want to make the most of this guy, you want him to be getting forward. We have a little look back in game, look at his skills. Before we do that, he is 2-footed. And he's got unwavering form, so a couple of positives there. It sounds like he's joining Inter Milan in real life, so he should be getting plenty of A and B form, assuming he gets in the team. But in terms of his skills, like I say, there's nothing really defensive, but going forward, double touch from Marseille turn, a couple of skill moves for you. Long range curler and long range shooting, dipping shot, first time shot, so he's got a bunch of shooting skills, and then he's got one touch pass and through passing for his passing, and he's got outside curls, a nice one. So you've got to play, he's 2-footed, he's got outside curler, he can play on the right or the left, and he can play through the middle. So he's got versatility. That's very nice. Let's jump straight back into eFootball Hub then, and we'll see what we can do. I'm seeing offensive awareness is 1 away from the 80 mark. Easy peasy. Nick 1 from passing. Straight on dexterity. Boom. Would I do much more than that? I don't know. I don't think you need to do a great deal more. He's got a decent amount of pace to play out wide. As I said though, 4 points on defending. I'll take those straight back. Thank you very much. He's not going to be defending for me. You want him as a very attack-minded centre mid, fair enough. The whole player playing style will be active there. But you can't make him good at defending, so I wouldn't personally bother. Make the most of him as an attack mid or a left mid or a right mid. We've got 5 points to spare here. Where are we going to put them? A couple more on dexterity maybe? Yeah, why not? A bit more acceleration about him. Stick 1 on shooting. I'll probably just do that. I don't think I'll do a lot more, to be honest. He's very tidy on the ball. He's got really nice passing. The finishing's okay. You could, if you wanted, take a few off his passing. Then you're still at 90 for low pass. You could shove all those on his finishing. That gets him up to 82 finishing. That might be worth doing, actually. So still just as tidy on the ball and still got very good passing, even if we took a few away there. Still at 90 for low pass. Got 1 touch pass and through passing as well. For a wide midfielder, that's excellent. But now with the finishing up to 82 and a bunch of shooting skills to back that up, he's going to have a decent shot on him. Especially with 90 for kicking power. And again, decent pace. We've got the acceleration up a little bit. Good balance 88. Stamina 88. 2-footed, unwavering form, attacking awareness 82 with the whole player playing style. I like the look of this guy, to be honest. I'm quite tempted. It's a shame the other rewards that you get from the match pass, as I've just been rambling on about, they're a bit less appealing. They've been getting less and less appealing over time, but for 500 coins or whatever it is, like 300 and something coins when you get all the coin rewards back, I might be picking this guy up. It looks quite decent, this card. As you can see, that they're giving you a guide with these numbers. They're only a rough guide, but 100 at centre, attacking mid, left mid and right mid. That's letting you know how good he is. This is a good card to me. He's not got electric pace. He's not incredible, really, but I think, honestly, as a left mid or a right mid or attacking mid, he's a really decent looking player. He's going to be neat on the ball. He's two-footed, got outside curl. He can pass, he can shoot. Yeah, personally, I'm very tempted. I may well pick this guy up. Depends how many coins I've got left after the next J-League box, to be honest. But yeah, I think this is a decent one. It depends if he fits into your system and stuff. But as versatile as he is, playing either side or through the middle, with plenty of end product, going to feel neat on the ball. I think this is a very nice looking card. And before I forget to mention it, we've had a bunch of Zieliński cards in the past. We've had a few 94s, but that's as high as he's been. So it is one of the best versions of him that we've had as well. So yeah, this is a good looking card to me. And now we have our premium match pass player. So for 1,000 coins, you will get yourself Álvaro Morata. This is one of the highest rated Moratas we've had. We've had another one that went to 95 that was a Showtime card. That one had a booster that took it to 96, but I don't think it's necessarily a better one than this. It depends on what attributes you think are the most important. The big difference, and it is a big difference in terms of which attribute it is, but that Showtime one had much better finishing. But this version of Morata has better speed and balance, quite considerably better as well. I think the speed especially. When you consider this as a goal poacher, I always say it, pace on the goal poacher is important. So yes, you got better finishing on that Showtime card if you got that card, but it's pros and cons. I don't think there's a great deal of difference overall. It just depends on like I say, whether you prefer the speed and bounce or whether you prefer the finishing. But this is one of the better versions of Morata that we have had. So we're given the maximum game plan boost, see what we're working with. As you can see, he's got great pace. Down here, athletically, he's really good in the 80s for all of these. Awareness at 91. Finishing at 89. We'll see if we can nudge it up to 90. Heading 81 down there. On the ball, he's not brilliant, but he's not too bad. The one area I really feel like he could do with improving is passing. His passing is pretty bad. So we'll have a look at that. We'll have a quick look at his skills. We'll jump back into the game. So another one with unwavering form. That's good. It looks like he might be joining AC Milan in real life. So yeah, well, it remains to be seen how well he does there. If he gets much form, but he's got unwavering. Skill-wise, does have one touch pass, so that helps with his passing at least, but still a concern. He's a super sub. Always nice to have a super sub. Got heading, acrobatic finishing, and then he's got a first time shot and long range curler. It might be worth giving this guy acrobatic aerial superiority, sorry. If we just jump back into eFootball Hub. I think it's well worth giving this guy aerial superiority. He's got decent heading, jumping and physical. He's almost 6'3", so he's a decent height, decent aerial and physical attributes. Aerial superiority, he's got heading and acrobatic finishing already. Could be pretty decent from crosses. In terms of his points and whether I'd shuffle them around, like I say, it'd be nice to get finishing up one. It's just a question of where you get those points from. You could afford to nick one off dexterity. You could afford to nick one off lower body. It'd be nice to get his passing up. You could do that and just get his passing up a bit higher, but I want to get that 90 mark on finishing. There we go. That leaves us 2 points. I would stick that on dribbling, making him a little bit better on the ball. I would like him to be a bit better technically, and I would certainly like his passing to be better, but as a goal poacher, getting him behind the defence, awareness, finishing, pace, all 90 plus, and the added ability that he's decent in the air. Even before aerial superiority, he's going to be decent from crosses, but especially if you give him aerial superiority, he could be very decent from crosses as well. I think it's a very decent looking goal poacher, especially as a super sub. As a tall, pacey goal poacher with the awareness and the finishing. Could be pretty effective, popping up and getting goals for you, especially in the second half as a sub. Could we do a different build on him? I wonder if we could really make him good in the air. Let's see. If we took a few points away from his speed. And if we just take that shooting down a bit. And the dexterity down a little bit as well. A bit of a shame, but just to see how good he could be as a kind of big physical guy who's good in the air. Ooh. Yeah, not bad. So if you wanted to do that, you can get his jumping up to 91, physical contact up to 92, heading is almost at 90. Oh, could we nick 3 points from somewhere? Possibly. Yeah, look, let's be cheeky. Boom. You can even get his heading up to 90 as well. If you did that, if you wanted a striker who's going to get on the end of crosses for you, you trained him like this, if you give him aerial superiority, he's already got heading and acrobatic finishing, he could be menacing from crosses, and he's still got pretty decent pace. The awareness we've sacrificed a little bit, to be fair, but it's still decent. and the finishing at 89 is still good as well. So that's another option for you. If you want that type of a striker, he's tall, we're going to get on the under crosses. You could do that with Aero Superiority. It could be a great card to pick up. But like I say, with pretty much the auto allocation, the pace, the awareness, and the finishing as a more orthodox goal poacher, getting in behind the defence with his pace, taking up good positions, taking chances. It's one of the best versions of Morata we've had. I think that's a really nice looking card, to be honest, an interesting one, especially as a super sub. So it will cost you, it will set you back 1,000 coins, that premium match pass, minus whatever you get back, 340 coins I think is you get back. But yeah, if you've got the coins to spare, if you like the look of this guy, if you're a fan of him in real life, I think it's a very good version of him. And then if for anyone who does pick him up, it could be a very effective card. So there you go. Those are all the nominating contract players and the match pass players that have just been released on eFootball. Like I say, I think it's a bit of a disappointing selection on the whole. They seem to be getting gradually worse each time. I don't understand that. It's devaluing match pass, as I said when I started talking about the match pass players. I don't understand why they're devaluing match pass a bit, but it'll be interesting to see what else happens before the eFootball 25 gets released and when it gets released, what other changes they make. Maybe they got a few things up their sleeve. I'm sure there'll be some changes coming, but yeah. As things stand, match pass to me is not too appealing, and the whole nominating contract selection this time around, they've not been great lately, and it's another bad one this time around in my opinion. So yeah, a few decent, useful options from for the J-League challenge, and in the 5 stars, including Lukaku, I think there's some interesting ones in there. I think for most of us, probably 1 or 2 decent ones in there, but on the whole, not the most exciting selection this time around, to be honest. But yeah, there might be some decent ones for you. Hopefully this video has been useful for you. It's helped you to decide whether to get the match passes and who to use your contracts on. Thank you for watching as always. Might see you for a J-League watch along soon. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. So take care of yourselves. Thanks again for watching. See you soon.